Yeje namutama I yeah
Okay.
Exclusive from Demos Records.
Looking for that used car that perfectly fits both your lifestyle and your budget? Are you bored with the same old tactics, the same old styles, and the same old disappointments when you don't find exactly what you want? Are you frustrated because of bad credit or tired of being rejected of in-house financing? Are you tired of going from garage to garage for a car? How about that filthy old car that you used to drive? Are you done? Welcome to the new experience. Barrico Auto Sales has sold and financed cars to over 50,000 people across the country. Our exclusive in-house financing model allows us to provide flexible options for all. Enjoy low rates, free pickup, and award-winning customer service. Reserve today. Barrico Auto helps make car renting easy and seamless for all of our customers. Our financing options allow you to shop our vehicle inventory for the exact used car, truck, or van that best fits your needs. Car selection and customer satisfaction are of great importance to us. We provide the best mechanical repairs, and our services take just minutes. Detail your car with us and get out of that filthy old smell and into something sweet. We will even do your oil change at the lowest rate. And please do not forget that with Barrico Auto Sale, you own and drive your car before you even have to pay us. So come on down and visit us and drive away with your new car.
Barrico Autos, own and drive before you pay. 240-486-4664. www.barricoauto.com.
again. We are no fools on the hill. My people are no fools on the hill. You must let my people go, so we can rule from Cape to Cairo. You must free my people's hands, so we can rule our purpose land. I wanna know the land. Who wanna know the land? Okay, now listen carefully. Chinese are ruling the Chinese land. Japan is ruled by Japanese. England is governed by Englishmen. America is governed by Americans. So, Africa must be ruled by Africans. I wanna know the land. We must rule from Cape to Cairo. We must rule our purpose land. I say, we want to know who owns the land. I want to know who owns the land. Aslan, hey, Papa Aslan, Papa Aslan, Papa Aslan. It must be free. Angola want to know who owns the land. Mozambique want to know who owns the land. Namibia want to know who owns the land. I say, Soweto want to know who owns the land. Zimbabwe want to know who owns the land. African freedom fighters want to know who owns the land. Papa Slam. Now listen to the history. We've been here since creation. We've been here since creation. What does God know? Since the time of sun and sun. Since the time of moon and stars. Since the time of air and sea. Since the time of men and things. We must run from Cape to Cairo. Okay, now I want to talk to my people. Ira Daniel, I will know. Yeah, Ira Daniel, I will know. I feel it's all over Daniel. Now we are the crossroads. On the Femo, don't be right. I feel it's all over Daniel. I'm not famous, don't be right. Oh, Palimu Maya Gbera Baba. Yeah, oh, Palimu Jasu Yaraka. Oh, Palimu Tizanya Betonye. Oh, Minije. Oh, Minije. Oh, Demena, Demna Bogise. Ira Daniel, I will know. Yeah, Ira Daniel, I will know. I feel it's all over Daniel. Now we are the crossroads. On the Femo, don't be right. I feel it's all over Daniel. On the Femo, don't be right. Oh, Palimu Maya Gbera Baba. Yeah, oh, Palimu Jasu Yaraka. Oh, Palimu Tizanya Betonye. Oh, Minije. Oh, Minije. Oh, Demena, Demna Bogise. Oh, Palimu Demena, Demna Bogise. All right.
2020, February, where the killer today. Try so, now that dead body then so the day for down. They say the one finish Ambazonia, and God being our strength, and we will get thing we want. And the international community, Jody wash, as a kiwi every day, now so we bury them every day. Every day. Thing we need, and we need not only action. We need not only action. And not only God could save we. And I think that will happen today, the 24th, 2020, February, in Sumokov, under Oku, by the forces of Bia regime. Who day, where they kill and today, the 24th, 2020, February, where they kill today. Try so, now that dead body then so the day for down. They say the one finish Ambazonia, and God being our strength, and we will get thing we want. And the international community, Jody wash, as a kiwi every day, now so we bury them every day. Every day. Thing we need, and we need not only action. We need not only action. And not only God could save we. And I think that will happen today, the 24th, 2020, February, in Sumokov, under Oku, by the forces of Bia regime. Who day, where they kill and today, the 24th, 2020, February, where they kill today. Try so, now that dead body then so the day for down. They say the one finish Ambazonia, and God being our strength, and we will get thing we want. And the international community, Jody wash.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the broadcast. It's always a privilege to come to you with updates on the revolution. Updates with the revolution. I am so excited coming to you today. The photographs or the images, the footages that you find on your screen a moment ago are what took place today, as I learned, I think in Tanka and Mancon. I hope I got it right. That happened today in Tanka and Mancon. La République du Cameroon continue. They just continue with impunity of killing our people and just killing and just killing and just killing. I wish to remind them, we have said to your last man standing, if that is what it will take for us to gain our freedom and independence, we will keep on taking. But we can assure La République du Cameroon, never, never are we giving up. Are we sacrificing these sacrifices to go back and live with them? And that is why we continue to sing that song every day. We want to know who owns the land. Ambazonians want to know who owns the land, and the answer is theirs to give. It's not ours to answer, because we know. The land belongs to us. The people belong to us. And we will get it. We will get it. We have made a lot of progress. We have come a long way. We will get what belongs to us, ladies and gentlemen. These killings will not discourage us. What else are we going to see that we have not seen? We have seen everything that La République du Cameroon is able to do within these 3 or 4 years. And there is nothing else they are going to do that will surprise us. We know what they are up to. We are prepared. We are ready to face them. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this live broadcast coming to you from ABC Amber Television from the great state of Texas, of Texas, Houston, precisely in the USA, where the time here is 25 after 12 p.m., 25 after midday p.m. On ground zero is 25 after 7 p.m. In Washington, D.C., it is 25 after 1 p.m. In London, I guess it is 25 after 6 p.m. Again, welcoming all of you in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, in Europe, in continental USA plus Canada, and of course, the Southern American countries. Welcome to Revolutionary TV. And I am very, very excited with the information I bring to you today. I want to thank all of you in the great state of California for hosting us at the funeral of our departed comrade Shea Francis. It was very, very emotional, standing by the corpse, by the casket, and looking at him lying in there, powerless. A man who used to move all of us, as the ethics chair, or chair of the ethics committee. He was very, very instrumental to the progress that we made in this revolution. We want to also thank all of you in California who welcomed us, and we all partook in bidding him good night. The stories that were told at his funeral were so moving, heart-wrenching, and yet, because we know he lives, we will see him again, where we all get together in that great day, on that great day of reunion. Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and hit your share button. I see the numbers are growing very, very, very quick. Less than 100 to go before I come to you with a broadcast proper. This is what I am going to do today. I am going to make a few announcements, and after the announcements, I will bring you the presentation proper. After the presentation proper, I will open the phone lines and take a few calls from those of you watching and listening out there. Again, this is the state of the revolution. And let me see, I can bring to you some announcements before I go to this presentation proper. I want to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very, very special event coming up on March the 13th. March the 13th. We have a very special event coming up March the 13th. We call it a Million Man March. A Million Man March. Those of you who have listened to the audio put out by the President, Dr. Samuel Okomesako, talking about the Million Man March in Washington, D.C., coming up on March the 13th. March the 13th. That will be preceded by a very, very powerful press conference, international press conference, on Thursday, the 12th, I guess, the 12th of March. I think Thursday is the 12th of March. So the Million Man March on, I think it's, let me see, I can find that announcement here. The Million Man March, let me get the precise dates. In the meantime, continue to hit your share button, please. Continue to hit your share button. Now, we have March the 12th, beginning from 11 a.m. That is, March the 12th is a Friday. March the 12th is a Friday. That will be the Million Man March. Amazonia gathering in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. March the 12th. A Million Man March. We are assembling there to protest or to call for the attention of the White House and the international community towards the plight of our people on Ground Zero, towards some of these killings that we see taking place in our territory. But again, that Million Man March shall be preceded with an international press conference at the National Press Club. The National Press Club in Washington, D.C. That will take place on Thursday, March the 11th. The International Press Conference shall be taking place on Thursday, March the 11th, at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. The hall is open to every Ambazonian who would want to be there. It's not meant for the media alone. Everyone is welcome. In fact, we have a hall that is about 100 in capacity, and every Ambazonian showing up for the rally on the 12th would want to be there at the press conference on the 11th. So please take note of that. I'm very sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm giving you the wrong date. There was a confusion here. The International Press Conference is on Thursday, which is March the 12th. The International Press Conference is taking place. Thursday is the 12th. And then Friday will be the Million Man March, which is the 13th of January. In other words, these important events are taking place on Thursday, the 12th of March, and Friday, the 13th of March. So please, let's take note. All of us in all of America, including Canada, we are all expected to be in Washington, D.C. within these days, March the 12th and March the 13th, for a million man march. Now, it is important that I emphasize that this event is not just being put together by the interim government. This event is being organized by Team Amazonia and the interim government. So this is a joint effort of the team of Amazonia Coalition. All right. Also, coming up in London, I think it is March the 9th, London is hosting one of those very, very important rallies at the Commonwealth premises in London on March the 9th, and everybody in London, in England as a whole, every Ambazonian in England, please show up there. Show up there. All right. If I get the dates wrong, please correct me. Those of you watching out there. And then, we have seen what happened in Paris last Saturday, with the French president responding to an impromptu question from an activist, a French Cameroon activist standing by the sidelines. We heard in that interview French President Macron telling the activist that he asked Cameroon to release political prisoners, and Maurice Kamto and his group benefited from it. None of our people benefited from that political amnesty. And then Emmanuel Macron went further to say that he will be calling Paul Biya or to ask him to take care of the conflict between his country, La République du Cameroon, and Ambazonia. I see lots of Ambazonians out there expressing hope, wishing that it happens. And many like us are very pessimistic, very, very pessimistic for anything coming from French president. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not take anything coming from the mouth of the French president with a pinch of salt. You know why? It was French. It was the French who gave Paul Biya 40 billion francs for them to rebuild the settlements that their soldiers have burnt. Do you really think the French gave Cameroon 40 billion francs to rebuild those settlements? By the way, when did Cameroon receive that 40 billion francs CFA to rebuild the settlements? Isn't it over 4 months that French Cameroon received that money? How many settlements have they rebuilt with that money? And have you heard the French making noise out of it and saying, what did you do with our money? Fellow Ambazonians, the French did not give Paul Biya 40 billion CFA to rebuild any settlements. The French gave them 40 billion CFA francs to buy arms, and do not be surprised, the arms were bought from the French. In other words, the French gave them the money, turn around, put it in their pocket, and supply them arms. And they are using the arms to slaughter our people. That is what the French did. Now, you should also understand. Remember the lady I brought here for an interview, Rebecca Tinsley from London. Her group had organized with different 50 non-governmental organizations and written to the French government asking them to facilitate the Swiss mediation. And you remember what the French replied was. The French replied, Cameroon already held a national dialogue. They expressly stated that they were not interested in the French initiative. And up to today, the French are still not interested in the Swiss initiative. We have also learned the French is in the habit of vetoing or standing against any resolution at the United Nations Security Council that benefit the Southern Cameroon struggle. So why does anyone think that French President Emmanuel Macron will be calling Paul Biya and saying to him, you better solve the problem? Why does somebody even contemplate this? It is not going to happen. He is the worst hypocrite in the international arena as far as this crisis is concerned that we know. It is not going to happen. We just have to intensify our ground game. That is the secret. We have to intensify our ground games. The policy to have all Francophones leave our territory remain very, very much in place and being enforced. We are not asking the restoration forces to kill any Francophone in our territory. No, we are saying to the Francophones to leave, and that if they do not leave, we will move them. We will not torture them because we are not barbarians as their leaders. We will not torture them. We will not kill them, but we will make sure they all leave. We will not continue to harbor spies in our territory. Yesterday, where was that? I got that report. It was in Bali. We learned how a group of restoration fighters walking along the street were shot to death by French Cameroon soldiers riding in the vehicle belonging to one of the Francophones in that locality. They disguised in that vehicle belonging to a civilian Francophone resident of that community and shot, I think, three 3 of our boys, and one of them succeeded to escape. This is what Francophones are doing in our territory. They pretend as if they empathize with us, but they act as spies to French Cameroon soldiers to go out and wipe out our people. Ladies and gentlemen, the policy is in place. It is being enforced. French Cameroonians resident in Ambazonia will leave. In fact, they are leaving. And if you are Ambazonian living in French Cameroon territory, we are appealing to you. Things will never be the same again. We see retaliation. Retaliation coming over you in Yaoundé, in Douala, in Bafoussam, in Chang. Why there is still peace around, we ask you, Ambazonians living in any of these territories, leave, move, because we know exactly what is going to happen. All right. And one last thing before I go to the presentation, ladies and gentlemen. The last time I was here, I told you what is happening in SED Yaoundé, the detention center. I gave you 5 names of people who are in SED. But when the lawyers went there, they didn't find any of them. In fact, the lawyers are presented with a register. And the register contains the names of all who are in their custody. The names of the 5 are not there, or were not there. After I came over the air and I mentioned those names and indicated they are indeed in Kondengé, the next day the lawyers went there. The same lawyers went there and saw them. But they were there the previous day and were told they don't exist there. Now, one other lady is still missing. We don't know whether she's alive or dead. And that is the wife of Fee Masha. She has not been seen, but we know for sure she was moved to Yaoundé. In fact, we are told that the 6 of them were moved from Chang to Yaoundé, and somewhere close to the entrance of Yaoundé, they were all blindfolded. Their eyes were wrapped up so that they do not see where in Yaoundé they are taking them to. Their faces were tied up and taken to the dungeon. However, somebody saw them, but they couldn't see her. They said gendarmes denied that she exists or they exist in SED. But the following day when they got back there, they were able to see others, but for the wife of Fee Masha, who was pregnant. Ladies and gentlemen, again, if you have lost anyone for a while, you cannot find the person, you cannot see the person, they were not abducted by Atanganji boys, know that they may have been killed in Yaoundé in SED or in Boya, the center prison, or they are still under torture. The only time they will release them for access to the public is after they have finished the torture. I am telling you, out of the testimonies we have learned from other prisoners. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the updates I wanted to bring to you. Now, I will bring you the presentation of the day. And I urge you to go ahead, continue to hit your share button. As I have said, after the presentation, I will come back to take your phone calls and to answer any question coming from you. I will only take calls coming through WhatsApp, of course. And remember, when you call, you must turn off your television set or your computer to avoid background noise before you call, else I won't take your call. Good evening, fellow Ambazonians. As we know too painfully, us Ambazonians really have gotten the attention that the humanitarian plight in our territory deserves. in international media. There is genocide going on in our land, and no one seems to care, until a massacre such as what we saw in Donga Mantung occurs. That is why I acted with great surprise when I came across a podcast by the name Into Africa. The podcast show had a segment to discuss our plight and the current happenings in our territory. I was wondering how it would be structured, as no Ambazonians that I was aware of, nor anyone from the interim government had been contacted or invited to participate in the podcast. However, I eagerly listened and surely glad to see someone was covering our struggle. That being said, I was shocked and could not believe my ears when I heard the name of one of the guests who was speaking on the Into Africa show regarding what is going on in our country, Ambazonia. This guest was a woman whom I have unfortunately had to speak about at a great length on this show before. Her name is Janet Yahud, and she, along with Naomi Sachs, are the two women in the office of Congresswoman Karen Bars that are agents of La République du Cameroon and regularly lie to their boss about our plight and sideline all Ambazonian voices from the debate in favor of Bamileke, anti-Sarinat, and the Cameroon so-called American Council. Given the popularity of the Into Africa show, I was under the assumption that there would be a fair and balanced discussion about the issues, and that potentially there would be a debate about our plight, with Yahud representing La République du Cameroon and someone else talking about our plight and the right of the people of the former British Southern Cameroons to restore their own independence. Unfortunately, I could not have been more wrong about what I was going to hear during this show. It turns out that, ladies and gentlemen, Janet Yahud was the principal guest invited on the show to discuss the happenings in the Southern Cameroons. I observed that the conversation on the Into Africa show was not about the internal happenings in La République du Cameroon, but only about our struggle. Yet, they did not consider inviting any representative of the interim government onto the show to discuss these happenings, but chose instead, or they brought on a woman who had lied to Congresswoman Karen Bars about our plight time and time again. Shockingly, during the show, they discussed the need to successfully integrating Anglophones, as they call it, into the system in La République du Cameroon, and added that naming Dion Ngute as Prime Minister is a potential means of solving our conflict and getting us Ambazonians happy. Moreover, during the show, Ambazonians were not referred to as the freedom fighters that we are, but we were referred to instead, or they talk about us as uneducated people who are fighting for warlords. It is clear that the Into Africa show gave a platform to Janet Yahud to tell the entire Africa policy community, including the State Department in White House the lies about our plight that she has been telling her boss, Congresswoman Karen Bass, that have resulted in House Resolution 358 and Senate Resolution 292 that advocate for federation with French Cameroon. Moreover, during the Into Africa show, Janet Yahoo spoke about a visit that Karen Bass made to La République du Cameroon during the summer of 2019, when despite us declaring a ceasefire and offering her and her team protection, they refused to visit Ambazonia and decided to say that they saw firsthand the genocide because they invited Bassa and Bamilekis to travel from Bamenda and Boya to Yaoundé to speak with her delegation. It shows that the very Janet Yahoo who arranged the trip simply walked on what she wanted her boss to see or hear. The lies peddled in Yaoundé, of course. She said during this podcast that they could not go to Ambazonia because of insecurity or because of security issues, and therefore they were not allowed to. However, some members of Congress have been able to travel to some of the most dangerous areas in the world, including Afghanistan, Iraq, and El Salvador, but they are not able to go to Ambazonia, where the rightful government offered them protection. At first, I was outraged that she went and said these things about our plight. But then I took a moment, asked myself a question. Why would this woman use this platform to say such things? I then looked at the host of the show to see who would invite this woman to speak about our plight in such degrading terms. And I assumed the person simply must be misinformed or uninformed. I then realized that the man who is the host of this show is someone by the name of Judd Devvarman. This man is no ignorant individual, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, he is someone who knows fully well about what is going on in Ambazonia, but chooses to walk alongside Paul Biya. This man, an American citizen, Judd Devvarman, is someone who was a CIA agent working in Africa for well over a decade. His official biography states that he worked in Abuja, Nigeria, but in reality, he likely worked in Yaoundé, given the internal mechanisms of the CIA. He rose up the ladder to eventually become the CIA head political operative for sub-Saharan Africa, during which he engaged with Paul Biya and the Boulou Beti clans in Yaoundé to help La République du Cameroon hang on to power. This man, Judd Devvarman, then went to work at the White House and stopped all briefings about our case from ending up at the desk of the President of the United States. Later on, this man went on to become the Director of National Intelligence for Africa, a position that controls the flow of information onto the desk of the President of the United States. He assumed this position in 2016, and now everything remains clear, very, very clear. In 2016, when they first arrested demonstrators in Ambazonia, there was silence, and this man is the reason. In 2017, when they killed our people declaring independence in the street, there was silence. And this man, Judge Devvarman, was the reason. In 2018, when villages all over Amazonia were burnt down, ladies and gentlemen, there was still silence, and this man was the reason. We can go on and on and on and on. This man, Judge Devvarman, used his position in the White House and in the CIA to go about to sabotage our revolution, as he has been paid off by Paul Biya. After learning this, we sought to use our resources here at ABC at the highest level and went to the highest level in the U.S. government to get to this man. However, he refused to talk to us. He has never responded to a single email of ours, nor would he return a phone call we have made officially. Then, as I recently learned, he had the audacity to go and speak ill about us at an event by Amazonians that saw it firsthand. This man took Maurice Kamto, a Bamileki around Washington, D.C., to the CIA and other institutions and said that he represents us. Kamto represents us. He also has worked with Kawala. Ladies and gentlemen, this man is at the highest levels of power in Washington, D.C., and is working against this revolution. The other day at the State Department, during a private briefing about killings in Donga Mantung, killings of yesterday, Judge Devvarman went and said it was the Amazonia Restoration Forces who did the killings. This cannot stand. I am now asking all of you Amazonians to open your phones, your emails, and Twitters, and get ready to tell him that the work he is doing for Paul Biya and French Cameroon is well documented, is well known. Moreover, let me tell you that he is as mischievous a man as the CIA teaches them to be. Do not just tweet him, but call him and email him. Per our sources, this man has a wife. Email him and ask him, how would you feel if someone killed his wife and then you try to defend the killer? Well, that is what he is doing to us. Call him now and tell him, let him know we know what this man is doing and that it will not stand. Fellow Amazonians, we cannot allow such threats to go unchallenged. We must act, and we must act now. Call, then call again, email, and then email again, tweet, and then you tweet again until your thumbs fall off. At the end of this broadcast, I will present you his Twitter and email numbers and phone numbers. Now, on the Kondenge government subject, a controversial statement which we have now formally confirmed to have originated from Kondenge, signed by 9 of the Naira Turn members, is making rounds in the social media. The 3-paragraph statement seeks to convey two messages to the reader. 1. The statement seeks to impugn the character of Comrade Tasang Wilfred. And 2, it seeks to indict him for a piece of opinion he had the right to publish about a week ago, in which he questioned the trustiness of Professor Maurice Kamto, the leader of the Cameroon Renaissance movement, a French Cameroon political party leader, over his meetings with Kondenge leaders and his meddling in the southern Cameroon's Amazonian conflict. In his piece, Tasang Wilfred essentially accuses Professor Kamto of being an accomplice and an enabler. in the many wars the people of the southern Cameroons have had to live with for 60 years. For 60 years. The Naira 9 signatories to the statement under scrutiny state that they want to distance themselves from the accusations made by Comrade Tassan against Maurice Kamto. Their letter of disclaimer, as we now know, was written, signed, and secretly delivered to Mr. Kamto. In other words, the letter wasn't meant for anyone else to see or for public consumption. But unfortunately, someone, maybe from Kamto's camp, would sneak it out to the social media. For all intents and purposes, ladies and gentlemen, the Naira 9 statement to Kamto basically throws Comrade Tassan Wilfred, I mean one of theirs, under the bus and panders to Maurice Kamto. The statement isn't self-explanatory as per the wisdom and justification behind the jittery and the pandering apology to Maurice Kamto. Without such explanation, one is left to guess to the conclusion that Barrister Insult John Fru was right when he alleged that former President Sisiko Julius Ayoktabe was compromised. The reason I have embarked on a commentary on this subject is because, ladies and gentlemen, the statement or action of the Naira 9 who signed that document touches on a more broader subject, that of compromise, as earlier alleged. This commentary should not be construed as being about Tassan Wilfred or an attempt to rushing to his defense. No, not at all. It is not. Tassan Wilfred is a grown-up man. He would have to speak for himself at his own volition and time. Ladies and gentlemen, tell me, how does one read the statement signed by the 9 without concluding that they have been compromised for real? How do you read the statement without concluding that Barrister Fru John Insult was right when he alleged that they are compromised? How can you read it and not say that Barrister Fru John Insult is vindicated? If you can't, maybe your problem is that of the English language. Let me take a moment to explain to you what the word compromise means in this context. Compromise. It means cooperation. It means an agreement between counterparts or parties reached by adjusting principles or demands. It also means to make a dishonorable or shameful concession. It may involve money or material changing hands and or a promise of some future benefits. That Sisiko and others were or are compromised doesn't necessarily mean they have taken money from somebody or from anywhere. But this doesn't cancel the fact that such could be part of the bigger package, the bigger future. The assertion of them being compromised is based upon the fact that they held backdoor meetings with Kamto in Kondenge, and nobody knows what they discuss, and their positions keep on changing. They have a pact, an agreement with Maurice Kamto. If there is indeed no compromise with Kamto, tell Ambazonians what this rush apology was all about. We are left wondering what is it they had to throw their own under the bus for, in preference of Maurice Kamto. We are left wondering what kind of bond or understanding they have with Kamto to the degree, ladies and gentlemen, they will craft a secret letter of apology. The whole thing is shrouded in secrecy. We are begging to know, and can Sisiko and the 8 others come forth and explain to Ambazonians what exactly it is that they were apologizing to Kamto for? It looks to me, ladies and gentlemen, like Nera Hotel is being replayed all over again. Just as Nera Hotel remains shrouded in secrecy, so is the relationship between the 8 and Maurice Kamto, between the 9 and Maurice Kamto. Condenge has tried to tell Ambazonians that Dr. Sako and Chris Anu were told, they were explained the reason for the meeting in Nera Hotel. Sisiko has indeed made it one of his talking points wherever he calls a gathering. I would like to seize on this opportunity, fellow Ambazonians, to set the record straight. Now, listen to me carefully. There is no veracity whatsoever in the narratives that Dr. Sako and yours truly were ever explained or told the reason for the Nera Hotel meeting that led to their abductions. No, we were never told. What we were told in different meetings with a couple of the Nera members present was how they were picked up. We were told how they were arrested. We were told how they were blindfolded and how they were driven for hours round Abuja for psychological torture. We were told how their detention center looked like. We were told the kind of food they were served for all that period, and how that it was delivered through a little opening on the bottom of the door of the cell. We were told how they were transferred from Abuja to La République du Cameroon that evening. We were also told what happened at the airport in Abuja that evening. And we were told what happened when they arrived Yaoundé that night. This is all, ladies and gentlemen, what we know, what we were told. This disclosure is very important because we have been accused time and again of hiding information from you Ambazonians. We have been accused of hiding what Condenge told us about their abduction in Nera Hotel. We have refused to respond until now, until today. We choose to do so now, because we see something in the very nature of Nera Hotel raising its ugly head in this rather secret apology to Maurice Kamto. Ladies and gentlemen, we may never know what that meeting in Nera Hotel was all about until the actors themselves decide to pull the curtains. Sisiko said in the meeting with cabinet that you called for the Nera meeting to discuss mounting refugee matters. That's all you said. But that is not true. And let me explain to you why it's not true. When you hear that excuse from anyone, I want you to know that that storyline, that narrative was my invention to the international media when they first came inquiring what happened, what the meeting in Nera Hotel was all about. I was the one who invented that story. Mr. Milan Atam, who was a center figure at that Nera meeting, you will recall, ladies and gentlemen, had made it very, very clear that the Nera meeting wasn't about refugees. When he stated that, he couldn't appear before investigators of the Nera incident because, he said, there was sensitive security or classified information he didn't want to disclose. Why would Milan not want to disclose about refugee meeting? Why, if it was about refugees? I hope we have not forgotten this. But listen to me. In June or July, I believe, of 2018, Comrade Barrister Shufai Beriyu snaked out their first letter out of set after they were moved to Yaoundé, and nobody had confirmation that they were there. It was the very first communication coming from any of them since their abduction. I got a copy of it then. In the handwritten note, Shufai stated, ladies and gentlemen, that the reason for the Naira meeting was to celebrate New Year as someone called for by Sisiko, at least for the cabinet members in Nigeria. He said he was in swimsuit, about to swim in the hotel's pool when they came and rounded them up. He made no mention, Shufai made no mention of refugees in the letter. I've had time to speak to the released members of the team. And even some of them in Kondege, I've spoken to them, and they all confessed, listen to me, they have all confessed that they didn't know the agenda of the meeting, leaving their homes that day for Abuja. But the questions that arise are, assuming that this Naira thing was about refugees, how come none of the participants was informed? Remember, even Mr. Atam has stated that he left South Africa and flew all the way to Abuja, Nigeria, not knowing exactly what the meeting was all about. Do you believe that? Still, did Sisiko rush and flew in from the USA just to attend a refugee meeting or New Year's meeting as recorded by Shufai? Absolutely not. If I'm postulating here, ladies and gentlemen, you should by now have realized that, yes, we have never been told the real agenda behind that Naira hotel meeting, even though they want you to believe that they told us and we refuse to tell you. Absolutely not the case. But all this is only relevant now in the context of their secret disclaimer and apology to Maurice Kamto. Like the meeting in Naira Hotel, ladies and gentlemen, we are still left begging for clarifications. What is this apology to Kamto all about? What are they apologizing for? Could it be they are afraid Tassan's accusations of Kamto could mess up their secret agreements or compromise with Mr. Kamto? Is it possible? Again, it beats my imagination that they will rush to throw one of theirs under the bus, only to rush to the embrace of a Larapaplidu Cameroon politician who cannot even stand the side of our flag, our mufflers, and our national emblems. They must now disclose to Ambazonians what secret agreements they have with Kamto Morris, as we must dig out for it by ourselves. Now the whole picture is coming to light. Albert Zongan comes out and says they had meetings with Sisiko while in jail, and that they saw in him, in Sisiko and others, some prospects of still living in a one and indivisible Cameroon. Ladies and gentlemen, and there is no rebuttal, no disclaimer from them up to today. The other day, this French member of parliament makes statement to the effect that he's been to Cameroon and that he visited with the Naira team. And he added that they are ready to live in a Cameroon where there is justice. And still, there is no rebuttal, no disclaimer coming from them? Their A-C partner is out there in the fields asking his soldiers to attack fellow Amber Restoration fighters to kill them. And not a letter demanding an explanation has come out of Kondenge. Ambazonians are burnt alive in Ngarba, and the world is condemning it. But Kondenge says nothing. But Tasang shares a mere piece of opinion in which he makes no claims of speaking for all of them. They disclaim him. They all jitter and scramble for a letter of apology. Don't we read something very, very fishy here, ladies and gentlemen? Ladies and gentlemen, you should be thanking God for the impeachment. It was the right thing to have happened. We could perhaps have woke up one morning, to find out that our leaders in J have signed a federation pact with French Cameroon or with Camto's people. We could have woke up one morning to learn that they have reached a deal on behalf of us all without any consultations. This is the reason they wanted to cling onto the steering or control at all costs. It is the reason they divided us, and now we knock our heads over their greed. Now even in Kondenge, they are divided. Turn to Sisiko, fellow Ambazonians. God forbid we should lose this struggle to La République du Cameroon. Blame Sisiko, blame Awasum, blame Shufai, blame Kimen, blame Eyambi, blame Infongalamfo. It's a disgrace. They divided us out here, and they have divided themselves also in there. When are they going to stop this chaos of trying at all costs to divide and rule? And it is a shame and quite unfortunate that Pa Infongalamfo, who should be the man of wisdom among them, is part of this confusion. Ladies and gentlemen, I have come across a statement in which Ngalamfo questions why they should keep Tasang among themselves. That is, among the Naira 10. What a shame indeed. What a shame. A number of things Ambazonians should learn from this apology statement, or disclaimer so-called. It says to anyone who cares that should you put Kamto and Tasang side by side, Sisiko and his team would choose Kamto and leave Tasang to die. What we'll learn again is that just as Sisiko formed his Kondenge government and brought in divisions within this revolution, he has equally succeeded to divide even those of them in chains behind bars in Kondenge. The summary is that Sisiko and his cabal, as we can feel, still have a certain Cameroonese in them. They have a special place in their hearts for Maurice Kamto and Cameroon, La République du Cameroon, not for fellow Ambazonians. Ambazonians, please run away from inconsistent leaders. They will trade you for you before you know it. That's exactly what is going on right now. One more thing. Sisiko says that Joseph Weber was his vice president XXX. This one too is absolutely not true, ladies and gentlemen. He is either lying or being manipulative. And I will give you the reasons I say this. Isn't it only a few months ago at an SCNC convention in London that Weber told us that he advised against the formation of the interim government? How is it possible then that he advised against it but accepted the position of Vice President XXX, and with a $3,000 salary that none of us in the cabinet was aware of. For your information, the interim government waited for over a month before electing an acting president, because we thought that Vice President XXX would show up and start giving instructions for the direction of the government. After we had waited and no one showed up, and the South African members of the cabinet confessed that they didn't exactly know who Vice President XXX was, cabinet was then bound to go ahead to elect an acting president. How can you have a vice president and nobody in your cabinet, in your government knows about it? Not even the president of the Restoration Council had a clue, ladies and gentlemen, about who VP XXX was. From all indications, Milan Atam was VP XXX. He was the one who immediately after the abductions, surreptitiously, stiltily began giving instruction to cabinet and country heads and coordinators how they ought to run things. But he was soon challenged and he fell back. That's another story for another day. But another question: how could Weber have been Vice President XXX when he had not even resigned from La République du Cameroon Parliament? Yes, he ran away, but he went back also. Till this day, many Ambazonians truly still do not understand his position as far as the push for independence is concerned. So how could he have been made Vice President? So much is being thrown at Honorable Weber right now, at this moment. This monthly payment of $3,000 and the position of Vice President. He will do himself justice to come out and explain that he was making $3,000 from the revolution and that he was VP. When that salary, and also need to know when that salary was stopped. Fellow Ambazonians, I do this particular presentation not to inflame the situation and not with venom to malign anyone, but I do it because the subject matter borders on consistency and the character of people who want us to entrust the future of this revolution into their hands. I have heard some say that we must not talk ill of those who have lost their liberties and are suffering unjustly behind bars. My response to this is that being behind bars should not constitute a license to anyone to derail or sell a just cause for which thousands have paid and continue to pay more dearly than those who have only lost their freedoms and still alive. And as one whose own brother sleeps under the trees in the bush, fighting for a free and independent Ambazonia, as one whose own mother has tasted the torture dungeons of La République du Cameroon cells, and whose passport has now been confiscated, as one whose immediate sister languishes in Kondenge over frame-up charges, as one who, like many others, no longer can boast of a home at home, we will guard this struggle with all jealousy to the end, that those who have paid such prices, those who have died, those who have lost everything, do not lose it in vain. That is our commitment to you. And I ask every Ambazonian to join this mission. It's a noble mission. We must not come this far only to surrender or compromise our aspiration to self-centered federalist bunch. We have to keep on praying that as times changes, God will continue to expose and purge out all these cunning, crafty, and whimsical characters from this struggle. Only then are we sure that we will get to our planned destination, which is Boya. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening. I hope that made sense to you. Right now, I am going to put on my screen the contact numbers, the Twitter account, the phone numbers, the email addresses of Mr. Judd Devvarman. We have to call and tweet and phone until we make sure the message has gone across to Mr. Devvarman. He is the one who is sitting on our way in Washington, D.C. Please get that number, get that Twitter account, get that email address, get that phone number, and please, make sure you give him a call. You give his office a call. While you do that, I am going to go ahead and take a few calls, and I think I have the first caller on the line. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Secretary Chris. It's Prince J.K.
Hello, Prince. Good evening, sir. What is your contribution? You are live on ABC.
Yeah, I want to say thank you very, very much for that merciful truth. And may God protect you and keep you very, very strong. Really, I just said, let me call to encourage you and support you for being honest, truthful, and standing steadfast for the people of Ambazonia, Southern Cameroon. That's what the Secretary of Communications needs to do. You have given out the information detailedly, and I think every Southern Cameroonian and those who are down on ground zero in diaspora in America and in Europe will understand everything you have said. We stand to defend the blood of those who have perished in Gabu and in all parts of Southern Cameroon, and while we fight to liberate those who are in jail. Jail is not grave, but once you're in the grave, your air is being cut off. So thank you for that detailed truth, and we hope Honorable Wiba will come out to testify to Ambazonians if he was VPXX, and if that amount of money, the $3,000, was being given to him. And also, it's very clear now, Ambazonians should not be confused. President Sisseku, former President Sisseku, has been long compromised. He's fighting for his freedom. And we as people of Ambazonia will question him when he's free about what is happening now. Them distancing themselves from Partasang is a very clear indication. Maurice Kamto refusing Ambazonians to put on T-shirts while he was in Canada is a very clear indication. And the hidden letter which Partasang refused signing is another indication. We saw it in the case of Mancho BBC and Barrister Bobala. So Ambazonians should not be confused, but they should be focused till victory, until victory will come. Thank you very much, Secretary Chris.
Thank you.
And God strengthen you, strengthen the interim government, and have a blessed day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. All right. Get the guest call. Hello, sir.
Hello, Secretary Chris.
Hello, sir. May I know where you're calling from, please?
I'm calling from Switzerland, sir. I would like to give my own piece. You know, I followed the interview of President Macron, and it sounds that somehow childish why Kamto was released. You know, we were thinking that there was a process for Kamto to replace Biya. That is not the case. Kamto will never, ever become a president in Cameroon. Never. It is just a distraction. He's just playing that part to distract us. Kamto was released just because Macron will not receive Pobia in Paris. because of the heat the international world is giving to President Macron. That's all.
Well, that tells you who rules the country, right?
Yeah. There is nothing about come to you take it from me to the next presidential election. You won't even be the third.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir. Let me try to take other callers.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the phone lines are open. Hello, sir.
Yeah, hello, Sir Chris.
Good evening, sir. I guess you are calling from Germany, correct?
Correct, I'm calling from Germany. First of all, I want to give you a sincere thanks for the clarification and for the straightforwardness of your work and the interim government to the people of Amazonia.
Thank you.
We have always talked about the only way out to this struggle, Secretary Chris, is to let Francophones go. The more we continue to romance Francophones, the more we continue to compromise them, the more our brothers, the more our sisters, the more our comrades will be killed on ground zero. If they do not leave, mark my words today, we are going to be in this struggle for as long as we don't know the end.
Well, we have made it very clear. We have made it very clear. If they do not move, they do not leave, we will have to move them. That is as simple as that.
They should move.
We will not harm them.
Then we have to move them.
We will not harm them because we are not barbarians as their government is. But if they want to be forced out, we will have no choice.
Yes, they should leave. If they do not leave, we would have to force them out. And we should know that the end to this struggle will be when Anglophones or we Amazonians will be Amazonians, and then they can come in thereafter.
Right. When we regain our freedom, our independence, they will come in like any other person visiting our country or coming to settle in our country.
But for now, let us be Amazonians and let them go. And let us put our words into action. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And reach our goal. Boya.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the call. All right. First caller from ground zero. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir. May I know where you're calling from, please?
Well, I'm calling from Bamenda.
Okay. How was Ghost Town in Bamenda today?
Well, Ghost Town in Bamenda was effectively today.
Okay. Good. So, what is your contribution, please?
Why, my contribution is just I like the way we have to, as we set it on ground zero, we have to push these Francophones to leave our land. They are the black leg in our town. They are the ones spoiling this our struggle. They work with our republic, and we on ground zero cannot accept them to stay with us. And secondly, our boys should walk with the fear of God. They should not take no money from any Francophone in exchange to allow them, let them stay in our land. And then
no, that will not happen. Our boys are not taking a dime from anybody. They are not taking any material thing from anybody. All they need to do is enforce their moving out of our country. That's all they have to do.
Okay. Thirdly, our boys from ground zero, our restoration force should be very careful with the guys they are working with. If you are a restoration force, you must be a 100% an Amazonian. Your father should be an Amazonian and your mother should come from Amazonia. We will not want a mixed blood. Either your father your mother is from the West Province and your father is from the North, from our Amazonian land. Because they are the people who are going to even sell us in our restoration force.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for the call.
Yes.
All right. Okay. The calls are flowing in. Hello, sir. Hello. Hello, sir. You are on ABC Live. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Thanks for the call, sir. What is the contribution?
My contribution is trying to make. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go on, sir.
Yeah, okay. This is Jackson calling from Pennsylvania. Just wanted to throw some clarification on the letter that was sent out.
Okay.
When I looked through the letter, I did not even see Patasang's name. But when you listen to the audio that Siseko put out, he said he refused to sign. My question is, how do you sign something that your name is not even there to sign? So,
but besides that, how do you sign something, a disclaimer that is essentially written about you?
About you, yeah. So that is some people are of the opinion that maybe these people they need to visit some specialists because they don't really make sense at this time, and we don't really have to waste so much time talking about them because there's some degree of confusion, disillusionment, and they're in total disarray. So,
you see, you are right, but you see, I really don't care about whether they are disclaiming Tasang or whatever. What I am concerned about, which is becoming a pattern, is that they do things in the secret and we are left wondering why they are doing it. We are still asking what was the meeting in Nera Hotel about. We are still asking today, why would they be rushing out an apology on behalf of Tasang to Kamto? What is behind this? This is a question that we all want answers for.
And one more thing I want to say, I want everybody to listen to me and listen very clearly. The meetings the county chairs had with Siseko, because in one of his audio, he stated clearly that people come to him and they go to His Excellency Sako, they don't come back to him. But I want to state it here that the county chairs talked to him, went to Dr. Sako, and when they went back to him to talk to him, he bounced out of the meeting. We made this very clear, and for him to stand and lie in that audio,
right,
it doesn't make sense.
Are you a county chair? The county chair?
Yes.
Okay.
This is Momo chair.
Oh, okay. All right, thanks for the call, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. I would take a few more questions, ladies and gentlemen, before I call it a day. All right. This is Germany calling. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Can you lower the volume, turn down the volume of your set, either your computer or your TV or whatever is you are listening, watching from? Please turn it down and focus on your phone.
Yeah, hello. Secretary Chris, good evening.
Good evening, sir. You calling from Germany?
Yeah, I'm calling from Germany.
Okay. What is your contribution, sir?
Secretary Chris, let me first of all send my appreciation to you for the wonderful job you are doing.
Thank you.
Listen, there is one thing we must understand. Kamto can never fight for Ambazonia. Kamto is fighting for La République and his interest with France. Now, if Kamto... Hello? Are you getting me?
Yeah, I'm getting you. You are live. Go on.
Yeah, if Kamto cannot even receive Ambazonians with their flags, with their t-shirts, Kamto tells Ambazonians that they are not important. Now, I want to come back to what you just said. I know you are being human, that Francophones, La République should leave Ambazonia. We should send them out alive. There is one thing we should understand. La République and the international world is not taking us serious because they consider us rats. If the real human beings start to die, the international community will know that this is something serious. Till this date, we are just being human. Ambazonians are being human by saying that they should walk out, we should push them out, and this will never happen. It is time for us to put the issue on the table and say, you have killed enough. It is time for us to start killing you people if you don't leave. This is the only thing that will make them know that we have shed more than enough blood. We have shed more than enough blood. We should go out. It is not a matter of telling them that leave tomorrow or leave next week. We should force them to leave dead or alive. And if it comes to that level, the international community will not. That is what happens in Rwanda. When people started picking up machetes and guns against each other, that is when they will know that it is something serious. We have not been serious. We have been taking these people as our brothers and they are killing us. Look, it is getting to a point where any person who goes about to see what happens in the last few days will come to realize that we are not considered as human beings.
Well,
the real human beings, let me put that word in quotes, the real human beings start dying, then the international community might realize that there is something serious in that world.
I have been...
Thank you very much. That is just my contribution.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I have been reading some comments from the Francophone community, the French Cameroon community on the social media, and I see all kind of descriptions that they give us Ambazonians, and it is quite clear. It is quite clear. They do not sympathize with us. If they had their way, they would just make sure that their regime decimate every one of us in Ambazonia. And that is why we do not choose to reciprocate their kind of recommendations against us. We are making sure that the last Francophone in Ambazonia leaves the territory. All right, let me get the next caller. Hello, sir.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah.
You are live on ABC. What is your contribution and where are you calling from, please?
Yeah. I'm calling from somewhere around the world.
What do you mean by somewhere around the world?
Yeah.
You cannot tell us the country you are calling from?
I'm calling from Germany.
Okay, thanks for revealing that. Anybody calling ABC should be bold enough, courageous enough to tell us at least the country is calling from. We're not asking for your name. We're not asking for your town or your city or your street or address. We just need to know when the caller calls, when that caller is calling from. So what's your contribution, sir?
Yeah, my contribution is the people who are dying already in Ambazonian are dying, and the question that I want to set it clear to all Ambazonian is we should be frank enough to ask clear questions and not following people. Yeah, we all have made errors in the past. because the highest problem in this revolution now is we are divided. I'm not accusing anybody, I'm not accusing AGC, I'm not accusing the IG, but the one frank question I want to ask is that AGC, their mergers with AG, where are they fighting on the ground? It's high time we start to ask real questions in this revolution, because this is the fact that has split this revolution. Because we have been divided into two, which is wrong. We need to gather the enthusiasm to fight one person. Okay, it is very difficult for us, for the IG and the ABC to unite. Okay, IG, they should stop condemning each other. AGC, fight on your part and let IG fight on their part. Let the works that you will do on ground zero, you will prove that, okay, oh, AGC have been fighting here, AGC have been fighting here, because we need to set records clear. Our people are dying. They cannot come, a group of persons cannot come every day to say one thing, my trip to Boya is a national anthem. All of us made mistakes. AGC, the IG, the TTAs were killed in Batibo, and they also killed these people because they were revenging. They were afraid that they are still coming to carry the same act. Okay, if all of us is for this revolution, AGC, fight on your part and prove to us that you have your own fighters on the ground, and let people see your works and follow your works.
All
you
right.
should not be saying something only of election. Yeah. Two, about Maurice Kamto. Maurice Kamto is not the president of Cameroon. We don't see any reason why Maurice Kamto, they should even be talking about him. He's just playing the French mafia that they are playing. So we should stop all this focus about Maurice Kamto. And thirdly, I told people time and again, we are not supporting the IG because we like Chris Ano, we like Sako. Ambazonians are supporting the IG because we are landed. And we already have a platform that is being known by the international community. And you want us to dissolve it to form another one, then we are mad people. That is what I've been telling Ambazonia. If we have 7 vehicles that are struggling to climb a hill in a bad road as we used to have in our communities, all the passengers will come out to push the first vehicles in front to go, so that we will create the path for everybody. If IG has the population of Ambazonian, let's rally behind IG, let's push IG, and let's go to Ambazonian. All the political leaders come and show us their tactics now for politics in Ambazonia. We should stop all these delays, accusation, my trip to Boya, this. You come and you every day same thing. I want to ask one question clear to Eric Tato. You stopped this issue of my trip to Boya on the social media, and it was heard. And where has it come again? That means Eric Tato is either you or nobody, because you have become the worst person in this revolution. Honestly,
All right.
Don't change. Yeah.
All right. Please, thanks for the call. Thanks for the call. Let me get to other callers before I leave. Thanks for calling, sir.
Yeah.
All right. I need ground zero to call. Hello.
Hello, Secretary Chris.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. May I know where you are calling in from, please?
Yeah, thank you very much. This is Chairman Frank of Menchum. I am calling you from the USA.
The chairman himself. How are you doing today, sir?
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
All right, you are live. Go on.
Yes, I want to greet the Ambazonian people. I want to greet our brothers that are fighting on ground zero for their lives and for the freedom of homeland. I want to say hello to those who are in the prisons for unjust reasons. But I more so want to state categorically here that the fact that has been mentioned in you, because the Amazonia we are trying to build is a country of fairness, of justice, and of the right of defense. So let us.
I think you are having a network problem. You are breaking up a lot. Hello. Hello? I think there's a network problem there. There's a network problem there. You are breaking up a lot. A lot. Okay, let me see who is next. Let me get ground zero. Hello, sir.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Good evening, Secretary, please.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling in from tonight?
I'm calling from Bamenda.
Okay, and what contribution do you have for the show?
Yes. I just have 3 points to emphasize on.
Okay.
The first one being Brazilian products were banned in Amazonia, but we still find Brazilian products circulating around town.
Okay.
There are some places in Bamenda where you find Brazilian drinks so common, even in Boya. The next point is Amumezam was banned not to do transport business in Amazonia, but you still find Amumezam doing transport business in Amazonia. Now, a series of bans, sanctions have been laid by the interim government, but people are not seeing it effective. Now that they are asking Francophones to leave La République du Cameroon, a lot of people on ground zero are asking, is that one going to be effective? Because a ban was placed on Brazilian products.
I want to hope that all the generals are listening to you. Go ahead, please.
Yes, a ban was placed on Brazilian products.
I think I lost that caller. Hello, hello. 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 Ladies and gentlemen, that is a bad network day, and that will be the last call that I can take. Before I leave, I just want to remind you, those of you in London of the Commonwealth rally, please find out about that information. I don't want to give you a wrong date, but for the Million Man March in Washington, D.C., again, it is coming up on March the 13th. It will be preceded by an international press conference at the Washington Press Club on Thursday, the 12th of March. Please, all Amazonians, let's make it a date. Mark your calendars. Have it in your calendar that March the 12th and the 13th, it will be our day in Washington, D.C., and all over Europe. We want every Amazonian, all Amazonians to gather at their members of parliament's offices, or senators' offices, House of Commons, House of Lords. Gather there, look for their offices, gather there, and let us rally and push our case before the international community. This is one of the ways, ladies and gentlemen, to push our case and get it into the limelight. Please, please. This is very, very important. Let's make it to happen. Thank you all for tuning in. God bless you all. God bless the Federal Republic of Amazonia. Good night.
Hey now, take a step outside and seize the day now. Set aside your worries, it's okay now. The sun is here to stay. Hey,
started a new career as a Linux system administrator with an average salary of $80,000 to $120,000 a year. Dynamic Tech Academy has transformed many lives for the better through our 6-month Linux program. We are so excited to announce that we are adding DevOps course and Red Hat certification at no charge, which will make students more competitive. Over 80% of our students have no prior IT background, yet vast majority of alumni land jobs in 3 to 6 months after they start applying. Our ultimate goal is to reach 100% student employment, so we work with every student until he or she gets a job. Upon successful completion of the course, we will provide resume building, interview preparation, and job placement assistance. With the Linux course, you get more than 300 hours of in-depth training, and you get to learn from experienced instructors. By the end of the program, our students can be Red Hat certified if they choose. Our alumni work in companies, both government and private companies in the USA, Canada, and even Europe. Want to learn more about the program? You can contact us at info@dynamicdmv.com, or you can call us at 240-604-9505, or you can call us at 240-423-7865. And you can also visit us at www.dynamictechdmv.com. If you are interested in online classes, please register on our website. That's once again www.dynamictechdmv.com.
Now, hear me. land. I wanna know who owns the land. Who wanna know who owns the land? Okay, now listen carefully. Chinese are ruling the Chinese land. Japan is ruled by Japanese. England is governed by Englishmen. America is governed by Americans. So, Africa must be ruled by Africans. I wanna know who owns the land. We must rule from Cape to Cairo. We must rule our purpose land. I say, we wanna know who owns the land. I wanna know who owns the land. Hustler, hey, Papa Hustler, Papa Hustler, Papa Hustler. Angola want to know who owns the land. Mozambique want to know who owns the land. Namibia want to know who owns the land. I said, Soweto want to know who owns the land. Zimbabwe want to know who owns the land. African freedom fighters want to know who owns the land. Papa's land. Now listen to the history. We've been here since creation. We've been here since creation. What else do I know? Since the time of sun and sand. Since the time of moon and stars. Since the time of air and sea. Since the time of men and things. We must rule from Cape to Cairo. I said, we must rule our purpose land. Purpose land. Oh! Okay now. Now I want to talk to my people. Ira Daniel, oh, I will know. Yeah, Ira Daniel, oh, I will know. Over Daneba, now we are the crossroads. On the Femo, Dambira. Billy over Daneba. On the Femo, Dambira. Opalimu Mayagura Baba. Yeah, Opalimu Jasu Yaraka. Opalimu Tizanya Vetonye.